Hello, ladies and gentlemen. So, I got some more great information for you guys here with specifically Joe Biden and everything that pertains to what he's been doing and due to his contact with Russia and China, and including what he was doing with Hunter Biden. Now, I understand you guys that a lot of you do know this already, like as in you probably already done the research or probably seen some very weird, questionable stuff that's been going on with Biden in particular. But here's the thing that I want to say is that here's all the compiled information of what Biden's been doing, what the White House has been saying specifically about this situation, and the emails and voicemails that are coming out, which that kind of prove everything in a big light. Here's the first video, and let's take a look.
His son, Hunter, joining the then vice president on the official visit to Beijing. Unknown to the press back then, Hunter Biden was forming a Chinese private equity fund, planning to raise money, including from Chinese investors. 10 days after the Biden's trip, Shanghai authorities issued the fund's business license.
Then Vice President Joe Biden had dinner with his son Hunter, along with Hunter's business associates from Ukraine, Russia, and Kazakhstan. And the day after the dinner, a Burisma executive sent a note to Hunter, quoting, "Dear Hunter, thank you for inviting me to D.C. and giving an opportunity to meet your father and spend some time together."
Hunter's lucrative business dealings often included giving as much as 50% of his earnings to his dad.
The text read, quote, "I hope you all can do what I did and pay for everything for this entire family for 30 years. It's really hard, but don't worry. Unlike Pop, I won't make you give me half your salary."
And Hunter introduced me as, this is Tony, Dad, the individual I told you about that's helping us with the business that we're working on and the Chinese.
The email reads this way, quote, "At the moment, there's a provisional agreement that the equity will be distributed as follows. 10 held by Hunter for the big guy."
I 1,000% sit here and know that the big guy is referencing Joe Biden. I met with the former vice president in person multiple times.
A newly revealed text message shows Bobulinski was apparently warned by business partner James Gillier, "Don't mention Joe being involved. It's only when you are face to face. I know you know that, but they are paranoid."
Chinese executives admitted to reporters that they were actually introduced to the vice president by Hunter Biden.
Hunter and the then vice president seen with a pair of Mexican billionaires. At the same time, Hunter had been working on energy deals in Mexico.
Joe Biden also had Hunter and his business partner fly on Air Force Two to Mexico.
The president agreed to pay Hunter Biden's legal fees for his business dealings with a Chinese-controlled company. Hunter's assistant reportedly telling a pair of Biden aides, quote, "I spoke with Hunter today regarding his bills. It is my understanding that Hunt's dad will cover these bills in the short term."
There is photographic evidence of Biden on a golf outing with both his son Hunter and a man called Devin Archer, who was another member of the Burisma board.
We also know that Devin Archer in that picture had a meeting in the White House, one-on-one meeting with Joe Biden about a week before they joined the Burisma board.
His closest business partner, Hunter, has made at least 19 visits to the White House and other official locations, including a sit-down with then Vice President Joe Biden in the West Wing.
I have never discussed with my son or my brother or anyone else anything having to do with their businesses, period.
Now, as you guys can see, that a lot of sketchy stuff that Biden's been doing, right? So we have been proven, or we have proven that Biden is in cahoots with his son Hunter Biden, was doing all these things from Russia and China, and this has now been proven, and we needed things to get done here so that way we can probably fix this. Remember, the media actively shoved this out of the radar, both on Twitter and other platforms, so that Biden get elected easier, because when people came out and said, when they figured out what Biden was doing, they learned that if Biden had any cahoots or connections with Russia and doing all this stuff, that nobody would vote for him, or that they wouldn't vote him, that would change their vote. So again, this is another sign of like the media really picking hard at play here. Now we can go into the next video to where the voicemail happens, and this is kind of a little bit more eye-opening.
Hey, Palace Dad, it's 8:15 on Wednesday night. If you get a chance, give me a call. Nothing urgent. Just want to talk to you. I thought the article, at least the thing online, it's going to be printed tomorrow in the Times, was good. I think you're clear. And anyway, if you get a chance, give me a call. I love you.
See, now this voicemail is saying that he's leaving a voicemail to his son, kind of talking about what the article and how if it's going to affect him or not affect him, and that's kind of a big deal here because he knows that, like, okay, so the article is not a big deal, or we can talk about this article and see what we can do to take it front. So this is the whole thing. This is Biden literally calling his son and telling him about this stuff. So we have that in order now. So finally, we can get into the final repertoire of everything else of what the White House has been specifically saying on these issues here. And to be honest, it's not really shocking.
Talking to his son about his overseas business dealings, if the president has said he's never spoken to his son about his overseas business dealings.
Well, first I'll say that what the president said stands. So if that's what the president said, that is what stands. And secondly,
about a New York Times article concerning Hunter Biden's business dealings, and he says, "I think you're clear." How is that not him talking to his son about his overseas business dealings?
We're not, from this podium, I am not going to talk about alleged materials from the laptop.
So are you disputing that the president's voice on the voicemail?
I am not going to talk about alleged materials on the laptop.
Are
it's
you
not
disputing
happening.
Then that it is not?
Peter, I refer you to his son's representative.
See, and here we have is the White House being silent or not really talking about much of this at all, right? So, that being said, we know that the White House is trying to cover this up or not talk about certain issues because we know this is the problem. Of course, if Trump was in this, people would be calling for impeachment and all this other stuff, and they would be wanting to they would be wanting everything done to pretty much Trump for all this negative stuff and all that, and they're not doing this to Biden. So this is the reason why when you're on one side of the political party, you're more defended, while you're on one other side, you're going to be completely ridiculed and blasted for a lot of things. And that's the thing here. The majority of the Democratic Party is being blasted due to the fact of all the BS that they've been doing as of recently. And here's one thing I'm very critical, and I think the conservative guy has said something very similar to this, or what I have been saying for the longest time now, is that now that we have all this information out on Biden and Hunter and all this information that is pretty crucial to the American people that was being kept secret from the beginning. Now, this stuff was kind of already somewhat released a couple years ago about Biden. At least there was stuff about the Russian collusion, right? But that didn't, again, as I said, that was being held behind everything else. Now that we see this, I think the Republican Party really needs to stamp on and fight back. This is a huge problem that I have with the Republican Party. If they don't fight back, honestly, not even just against this, but if they don't fight back against anything else that's been happening in our country, like with people shooting fireworks at people, or the mere fact that all the crazy stuff that's been happening, like the riots and the protests and all this stuff, or the attack on the active justices, where they're not being punished, and other people being punished for these things, and other major political things that we need these wins on, so that way we can make for a better society, a better country. Then the Republican Party's lost, and I don't know what we can do. Because at that point, we have just the Democrats, the far left, controlling everything, doing everything, and then we have the Republican Party not doing anything. And I'm hoping if Ron DeSantis does get into the actual presidency, because I would like him to be president over Donald Trump, I am really hoping that the Republican Party really slams down hard on these issues. Really does. And I think Ron DeSantis would actually do this. I think he would be a great leader, and I think he would really hamper down on these things. But the Republican Party needs to do these things. Because if they don't, then we as a people, we don't know what to do. We can't vote for the Republican Party because they won't do anything. When you lose the hope of the people, then I don't know what to say. It's the same thing with all these Republican companies and stuff like that, or sending me texts and stuff about like, oh, you're going to vote Republican. It's like, of course, I'm going to vote Republican because I kind of have no choice. I mean, I have the lunatic far left people, and then I have you guys. I mean, I'm going to choose the lesser of the bad option here, right? But again, you always want to send the text out like, okay, so are you actively going to do something? I mean, if you're actually going to do something, are you going to stick to your guns? And when you say you're going to do it, because honestly, if you're not going to do it coming up the following year, the next time that you come by and you don't do something, I don't know if I'm actually going to vote for you or vote at all, because you have lost my confidence or the truth on the matter on what we can do to fight back. If you're not actively going to fight back, then there's literally just no point in voting for you. You're dead weight. You're pointless. You're garbage. You're useless to the American people because you don't actually help. If you're going to say you're going to do something, fucking do it. And do it correctly. If you're not going to do anything, then get the fuck out of the way and have another party rise up and actually do what the people want. If not, fuck you. Seriously. Really fuck the Republican Party at that point. Well, that's my opinion, guys. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.